go. You can
Split the
share it.
difference there, you two.
All right, it is Thursday, December 11th, 2025, 7 p.m. This is the Village of Romeo Planning Commission meeting. We will call the meeting to order. If we can stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, roll call.
Fowler,
Here.
Grandstaff is excused. Hale,
Here.
Hall is excused. Minton,
Here.
Bill Parker,
Yeah.
Justin Parker, Mellon,
Here.
Webb.
All right, approval of the minutes from the November 6th, 2025 meeting. Anyone like to make I'll make a motion to approve the November 6th meeting minutes.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, we have approval of tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Is that Webb? Oh, sorry.
Mellon.
Either way.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, public comments. If there is anyone here that would like to speak, just make sure you give us your name and address, please.
Corey Jankowski, 340 East Washington Street. Here to talk about the property at 315 East Washington Street, which is across the street and one house over. From your last meeting, you had the report from the ZBA representative, and it says there was much discussion about it, but it did not meet all the criteria, but it still passed. If something's not meeting the criteria, why are we passing it? I mean, we're talking a 61% reduction in the variance, and the front yard, 9 feet from the sidewalk. I mean, is that even enough room for a car to park there? Because on the blueprints or whatever here, looks like the parking's right on the sidewalk. So if it's 9 feet from the sidewalk, is it even gonna be enough room for a car to park there? And the other concern is, there's nothing in here about the lighting. You know, I know there's discussions about it, but nothing was shown. You know, the property that's still being developed behind me, their lighting's enough to light up space. It's so bright. I can't even open my blinds without it coming through blinding me, standing in my kitchen. So, those are my concerns. That's all I got.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, and we can move on to ex-officio report. Hi, how are you?
Hey, you're here.
I do not have anything. Thank you.
Justin, did they do anything about the parking in Lowell, which they said they were going to, or this just been sitting there and doing nothing?
From what I was not at the last meeting, I was ill, I apologize, but they, did form a parking special committee. Is what they're forming to discuss the parking.
Okay, so it's 2 meetings ago, the council was on the verge of actually passing an ordinance, and the attorney advised that this is the one you missed.
Yes.
The attorney advised that we can't do that without a public hearing, and that, and so nothing's happening with that.
Not yet, no.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, right, ZBA representative reports. We have nothing, right? I don't believe that ZBA met, this past month,
Do we have a ZBA?
and we do not have a new representative, yet. Last I heard that was forthcoming, right?
Yep, so it sounds like Robert said he is gonna be joining the planning commission, but he's also on ZBA.
Okay, thank you.
Is Lisa still on planning?
She is. She had a Washington Township meeting tonight.
Yeah, I mean, not in planning, she's still on the ZBA.
Oh, no.
No.
Okay.
Okay, item number 9 on your agenda is the tree board presentation. That is going to be postponed until our January meeting. Clair St, that was giving the presentation, is unable to be here tonight, so that will come back in January.
Excuse me.
All right, so that brings us to new business. A, it is the 223 East St. Clair Street site plan review. Was in your packet. Again, our planner is not here this evening because we're backed up a week. That means she's got her other municipality that she has. But she did provide the site plan review in the packet. I can go over that, or I'll just read this proposal on the front. I don't need to read all this, I don't think. All right, so this proposal is the applicant plans a restaurant with indoor seating at 223 East St. Clair with a maximum occupancy of 28 persons. A site plan shall be submitted for review and approval by the planning commission whenever a building permit is required for the erection or structural alteration of a building other than one-family homes, one two-family structure, or accessory structures to these uses. Okay, so this is the building where, I believe it's JL's used to be, correct? It's the one next to Buscemi's?
Yeah,
Yes?
I'm here, I'm Jerrett.
Okay,
You are.
hi. Yes, if you wanna, that would help, thank you.
No problem.
Shed some light on us.
Yeah, so it was the old JL's. I totally gutted it, and then, I'm working with Chatitas. They wanna, lease it. So right now, we just submitted the plans for them to have, their restaurant with some seating.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So there's no, from what I've read through in here, the building is existing, right? This does not include any kind of an expansion or alteration to
No.
the footprint
No,
at all. So everything that's existing will still be there. The parking, the planner has on here that they require, a total of 5 spaces. It would be 3 for the, to meet the square footage for the space, plus 2 for the owners and employees, that they are, intending to pursue the payment in lieu of option,
yeah,
I believe, for the parking.
yeah.
Right, okay. And then, the only other thing I had on here, I think that would be a question for us, is it's for the off-street loading and unloading. Our planner has on there that the applicant should specify to the planning commission how deliveries will be handled, that this section allows the planning commission the authority to determine what is necessary per application. The ordinance also allows for the use of deliveries being taken on-street in the CBD district, considering the natural layout of the area. So I'm not familiar with what JL's was doing for deliveries. They were just.
They were just using that little alley,
Yes.
just like the Buscemi's deliveries
Yeah.
and everything do as well. There's no back entrance to that
Okay,
building.
that was my question,
Yeah.
is if there was a back
Yeah,
door at all.
so there's 2 entrances. They'll use one as a main, and the one on the, west side will be for deliveries primarily.
Okay,
Yeah,
'Cause
on the
there's-
face of the building.
all right, because there's the front and then the alley that runs along Buscemi's, right? It's the one-way.
Yeah, where
goes
that
on each
White
side.
House
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Buscemi's is.
That
yeah.
doesn't connect though.
No, it doesn't connect. It would have to go. All right, so the planner has on here, she has, if the planning commission decides to approve the application, all other applicable provisions of the village ordinances, limited, or including but not limited to fire, safety, building must be met. She recommends approval of the site plan, should the planning commission agree with the intended loading and unloading for the use.
I mean, I went through the site plan, I don't know if I saw, and I'm sorry to stop, jump
yeah,
in.
go ahead.
Was there anywhere for like a dumpster corral, grease traps, anything like that? Cause that's all supposed to be in the rear of a building.
So that's actually kind of diagonal in the front. They share it with, Buscemi's and there's another place, but there's already one there, and that's the same one that JL's was using. So there is a grease dump there and a dumpster.
I mean, is there an agreement with that that's contingent on this lasting? And then also, wasn't that just brought up under discussion, the dumpster at at Buscemi's and the location of it?
Buscemi's moved theirs behind the building.
Yeah,
The
which
other one's
is
still,
prospectively
Okay.
it's
not proper.
there's an agreement on the, apparently there's some verbal agreement, with the owner of the gas station for the, other two items he's talking about.
Okay,
I don't know if any payment is made or not. At one point, they were on my property and they've moved them there.
gotcha. Okay,
So, I mean,
yeah, I'll have to look into that with Chad about what we have to do for that.
Yeah,
And
because
there
all
was a
dumpsters are
restaurant-
supposed to be in the rear, and
Inside the corrals,
In the
right? 'cause
corral,
they-
yeah.
Can't get,
currently,
can't get in the rear of that property
Say,
at all.
no,
There's no corral
there's
back
no
there.
rear.
there's.
Yeah, it's a problem with that property. You can't access anything in the back.
Landlocked,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
right, yeah,
It's got out the side of the freezer, there's a leg that goes out to Bailey. But it's not accessible. Be running right along the edge of that house that's there, and there is no, I mean, unless you put something in like they have behind, the office in the parking lot, that's the only
right. and there's
vacant
no-
land in the whole area,
Right,
similar to
Okay.
what they have at the office in that
Mhm.
parking lot. But there you go, losing another parking spot or two.
right,
It's actually where it is right now behind the gas station. It's not taking any parking, period. That was just dead space. It was never really used. Steve, I mean, I owned those buildings.
Behind the gas station.
Yeah, behind the
When it
gas.
was more of a service station, they used to have cars behind.
Yeah, but they don't, I mean, it's essentially that space hasn't been quote unquote used as for a corral. The one behind the office, it was hideously expensive and a hideous mistake, but that's something else. I mean, if you don't believe it, go look at all the people dumping their trash there.
right. The JLs, you said they were using the Buscemi's is what was
mm-hmm,
previously?
yeah.
Okay,
But Buscemi's moved there, so I understood.
okay,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
okay.
Yeah, it's sitting on the grass
Jail's has been,
behind.
yeah, jail's been
building
out of there
right now.
since July,
Okay,
so I haven't thought of, the dumpster situation since then.
okay.
I knew they'd moved it.
Yeah, it's sitting behind the building in the
Right.
grass. I think that was gonna be addressed. I think that came through, I don't know if that came through DDA or it was discussed at trustee, I don't remember.
Okay. All right. Any other thoughts? Any other discussion?
Motion to approve is in order? Is that what you're about to say, or just approve?
I'm asking for your,
I have nothing else to say.
you have nothing else to say. Well, are you making a motion? Is that what
I'd
you
make
mean?
a motion to approve it. Mr., who's the second here?
What's that, do we hear a motion?
Carol? Carol seconded it?
You got
She
that?
got that.
Okay, so there is a motion to approve, this site plan as presented.
I'll second it.
Oh, I think Mr.
Oh,
Carl.
he seconded?
He did. Yes, can we have a roll call, please?
Yep. Hal,
Yes.
Mellon,
Yes.
Minton,
Yes.
Bill Parker,
Yes.
Justin Parker,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
It wouldn't be thought of as rude if you decided to leave. You
You don't have to
stay.
sit through the whole thing.
You don't have to stay if you don't want.
No, I mean, it just, it's not considered rude if you leave.
Thank you, thanks guys.
Thank you. All right, item B under new business, we have the fence ordinance review and discussion. There was some documents in your packet. There, in this packet was a letter here, a memo from, our clerk Lucero, along with some meeting minutes from our last January, and copy of the fence ordinance is in there, and I believe there was some,
There were some applications.
yeah, there were some things here that were, they were applications that had come in. Before we dig into the fence ordinance, I don't know if everyone's had a chance to read through the letter that Clerk Lucero provided with us. And he has some options after speaking with Mark Clark, the village attorney, about how to address this. I just wanted to address one issue here. In the second paragraph of this letter, so in January of this year, we did have that fence ordinance, we voted on it to accept it. We had made those adjustments to it. We made we had those months of those discussions of what we wanted to do. And then we voted unanimously to pass the amended ordinance, and then to pass it on to the Board of Trustees for our final approval. The letter in here, I just wanna make sure that it's not, that the information isn't being misunderstood, it says in here, unfortunately, the ex officio never brought this business back to the village council, and because of that, the amended fence ordinance is in a state of limbo. I did a little digging on our bylaws that we have and our zoning and our planning ordinances, and I'm not sure where that idea came from, that the ex officio is responsible for transporting ordinance updates to the council. It's not in our bylaws. It doesn't say that that's supposed to happen. And in the past, with the past ex officios that we've had, they, to the best of my knowledge from conversations I've had with them, never were asked to do that. That was something that just happened internally. It was an in-house thing that occurred. We had our meetings, we have our recording secretary, and those ordinance updates would just go on to, once we said we recommended to, for the council to approve, and they just went to council, right? There wasn't that extra step in there. And I think we had that with our short-term rental as well.
Yeah.
That our ex officio was asked to do a formal, type it up, send it in, include your documents that you wanna present to the council. And we had not, like I said, some of you have been on this board longer than I have. To my knowledge, that was never something that the ex officio was required to do.
No, it was internal. I mean, it's kind of redundant to have me then turn around and request again for all the information that's already here, that's already in the office.
Right.
It just, I don't know where that came from.
Oh, someone throwing a rotten apple because they felt like it.
Because I went through our bylaws that we had, and I don't see, there is no mention that says that's duties of the ex officio. It does mention recording secretary, that there's some mention of that. But I just wanted to clarify that, because when I read that in there, I was like, well, wait, I'm not sure if what's happening with why the things that we are passing here, if they're not getting to where they need to go, that's what's happening there. But I can't saying it's the ex officio's fault because it didn't get to where it was supposed to go, because that's not.
I have a question, all that being true, did the council actually vote what we sent to them, or did it just?
It's my
It just
understanding that it just laid there.
Yeah, there was conversation, there was discussion with administration, and apparently there was not any official request from the planning commission for this or the short-term rental to be put onto the council agenda.
We have sent them an ordinance, which we passed unanimously.
Yes.
Mike has made a suggestion that.
Now, after the fact, yeah.
After the fact, but that perhaps and the critical word here is certified plot plan. That's what you would like to see. Mike, could you get up there and, can you define to me what a certified plot
Yep.
plan is, and who would
Yeah,
draft it?
first
'Cause
introduce Mike Bomarito, building official, Village of Romeo. I've asked Sarah if she could please put together plot plans for fences that I've been receiving
Okay.
without having any type of a certified type site plan, or even I'm not even asking for boundary surveys, but you know, to put something on a plot plan house, if they have to get one drawn, so be it. I want everybody to see I've been getting to issue permits on. It looks like a kindergarten person has been drawing them, and this is from contractors.
I get that, Mike. When you say certified plot plan, what are you asking for?
A site plan that's a plot plan to that house. I guess if they don't have a mortgage survey or I'm sure, like I said, I asked that they didn't, have people have to get boundary surveys because it costs a lot of money. And we're not liable for fence boundaries anyway, it's civil. You know, when the fence company's supposed to find the markers or everything on their own. The problem I'm having, in order to meet our ordinance, unless somebody else has some other suggestions, I don't know how I'm gonna get proper information. I tell them, everyone that's come in, that I've been rejecting them, and Sarah sees it. And if you could all look at what I've been getting presented with, tell me if anybody there could look at any one of those and issue a fence permit.
Well, Mike, what do you think a certified plot plan's gonna cost?
I have no idea. They vary. As you know,
2,500,
Bill, you've been in the
3,000?
industry longer than me.
2,500, 3,000?
It could be anywhere from, it depends. When it comes to engineering, I tell everybody, get a few prices, because there's no set price for plot plans in the industry. It's like, some surveyors you go to, I've had surveyors where I've called up for one pin, and they've told me $500. And the same property, I've gone to 3 others and wanted $2,000. So, there's no set price, but my problem is, how am I gonna, unless you have another suggestion, if they wanna use Google overhead and then show all the combining properties, because they're bringing these in, I don't know if there's a driveway next to it. I issue a permit and find out they went right along, let's say the back of somebody's house, their whole rear yard ends up in the front yard of somebody else's house. And there's a privacy fence that ends up going in the front yard that I approved because I didn't know that existed back there. When you get most plot plans I've seen in other communities I've worked, they bring in plot plans, a lot of them are newer because, let's face it, they got a lot of all new subgoings in like Washington. There's hardly a house there where they don't have a plot plan we could pull. And they could use that to draw where the fence they're going. Unfortunately, we're in a historic village that some people haven't had a plot plan done for years, and you're right, what's the cost? But then, what's the solution, I'm asking? For me to be able to issue a permit that I'm not issuing wrong. If I gotta go out on site, I can't tell you, almost every one of those, Sarah could tell you, I had to go out, I went on my time, not charging nothing, and have to sit with the contractor and almost hold their hand. I mean, come on, they will come and meet me, show me where it goes. I gotta sit there and start measuring it to go for the 20 clear visions on the driveway. So,
What about, because then you mentioned, like with the Google, I've done that
yeah,
for some of ours, pulling some permits that we do. I've had to
Sure.
do it, like when we do it, we just did one up in Flint recently,
Mhm.
to do, an addition on a house, where I will use the Google, the overhead, because then you can actually see the house on
right.
the property, and then I can draw in around it. I mean, is that
The
something?
problem with that is they tell you right on that, do not construe that for a property line. So if somebody was to bring a plot plan to me for an addition, there's no way I would accept it. At that point, addition on a house, totally different ballgame.
Right.
If we can't verify it properly, yeah, you have to bring me a site plan for it. And whatever it costs, it costs. I need to know where that 9 foot is in our ordinance, okay? And that's a little different than a fence. Fence, you don't wanna, I understand if they did that and used it, they have to understand when I approve that, I'm not certifying that that's a property line. They use that
Right.
Google overhead, it could be 4 foot over, just so there's language written in there that can't be construed as the property line. It's up to the fence company owner. You're always responsible for finding your own property lines. If you put a fence on somebody else's property, I issued a permit, it's still a civil issue between them, and it's happened.
It is, but it's not the village's problem, and it's not your problem.
Yeah,
They've
but
made a
it's-
representation to you, and the company's made the representation, and if they wanna get into a fight with each other, that's their problem.
Yes, you're right, but my problem is, when I don't see the back of that house went along somebody's driveway there, because there's no, again, did you look at the drawings I've been
I
getting, Bill?
looked at all of them.
Yeah.
You looked at all of them, would you issue a permit on any one of those?
I would issue a permit on all of them.
You would. Okay,
So if you had a certified plot plan, would it show the neighboring,
it would show all the neighboring,
it would show the neighbor's
it would show
driveway?
their driveways, it would
A
show
site
their
plan of
sidewalks.
just that
It-
site?
It would
Well, then
show,
you're not-
on a plot plan, they've always show somewhat of what's next door on both sides and what's behind, where the lines are. You could tell if there's an alley there, it'll show alley. It'll show house. They might not put the dimension, it'll say house, but you'll see a distance. You'll see if there's a driveway there.
So basically, we're asking for a survey.
Kind of, but you know, it doesn't
It's
mean
the
you're
sa-
asking
it's
for a
the same
survey.
thing.
They can have an existing mortgage survey that's
They
sitting
don't do
there.
them anymore, Mike.
Yeah, but a mortgage survey is also not a survey.
And
It's just
they-
proving that the
No,
residence is
that's- yeah.
on the parcel.
That's
Right.
correct.
But it
It is
shows
to
at
no
least what's
scale.
around it.
Yeah, but
Yes and no, but it doesn't,
That's-
doesn't
all
have
a
to.
mortgage survey
He's-
is proving is that the dwellings you are putting a lien on are on what you own as a parcel.
That's what the certification
That is
on a
all it
mortgage
does, a
survey
mortgage
is.
survey.
He's quite correct on that. It does
It's not a
not
survey.
have
Right.
anything like what you're talking about. Now, if you were requesting that a plot plan show all adjoining alleyways, structures, help me out here, guys.
I've been doing that.
Can't the county GIS do that within a couple feet though?
Mike, Steve would know that.
And then you just snap the lines on that.
Steve?
Yes. It's, I'm pretty sure it's within no more than 6 feet difference, even
Well,
on the
that's a
but
big, that's a
again-
big deal,
That's-
though.
But again, we're not surveying, we're not trying to make sure that they're on lines, that's the fence contractor's job.
Right.
We're trying to make sure that they're within certain, they're
Our
not building it
guidelines.
on something.
I have a real hard time asking for a certified plot plan when you're talking about that is gonna cost far more than the item that we're talking about. I can easily accept the fact that any surveyor is gonna say 2,500. And that's gonna be far more than the fence is gonna cost. I just
Well,
can't.
some.
Pardon? You think that's,
Some fences.
Okay,
A lot of fence might cost more than $2,500.
do you want to have an ordinance put in play where every fence come to PC, like we do with commercial buildings and stuff? And you sit there and I want you to go on and let the PC approve it off of what you're looking at that's being presented to me. Either that or I'll just keep rejecting them till I get what I want then.
Can't you just say on the permit alone, no hand-drawn?
Well, that's the problem. When you
has to
say
show
no
parcel.
hand drawn, now you're going to almost to what,
No, I mean, you can teach anybody to draw something on GIS in 5 minutes.
yes, I agree with you 100%.
You could do it at the count, I mean, not to make Sarah do more work. You could show them how to do it at the computer, at the counter.
The thing is, some of the GIS ones that have been presented, Andrew, they're so blurry and vague, and you can't even make nothing around them either, you know? And I've had to go out already on almost every one that you see there and sit there and start
You must
measuring and
have terrible
helping
printer,
people.
Mike,
Yeah,
I can see that you
clean.
you would be quite correct in asking that all adjoining houses or driveways or alleyways and you give me the list of things you want, be included on the plot plan, and I would be happy to see that thing amended. But once you start talking about certified, you're talking about having a surveyor come in, and that's gonna cost, as I said before, far more than the fence is ever gonna cost.
And
Yes.
I agree with you. If they give it to me on even if it's not certified, but a plot plan, and we've been telling them, Sarah tells them, we need more information, show the surrounding lots, show the houses, and it falls on dead ears, and they keep bringing that back. So me being a nice guy, they finally ask, can you meet me out there? Yeah, I go out there.
Doing that.
So
That's not.
So,
what I'm gonna
So
do
maybe,
is,
maybe we include a fee at council level that covers the cost for a site plan review in person on the site from you on every fence.
Yeah.
If that's what it takes, that's what it takes.
I'm not worried about a site plan review cost.
Not a site plan, but
if
an
I
actual
have to go
on-site
out
visit.
on a site visit,
You
then
got a site
yeah.
visit.
there
Site
should be,
visit.
a-
They're paying for that, where they're paying for a site
then they
visit,
should
they're
put a
paying.
fee there
Yeah.
for me to have to go out there and sit
Right.
But
and
again,
measure.
that doesn't have to be us, that can just go on the permit.
Yeah, we
Right.
can do that anyway.
That's internal.
Yeah.
but can't, he's asking for a certified plot plan, when what he's actually asking for, and he says this, is he wants to know where all these other items that we're talking about are there. I would think that that could be part of the application. When they say plot plan, it says, by the way, you have to show us adjoining driveways, structures, roadways,
Might as well get
alleyways.
into easements and utility lines and say,
Okay,
hey, you know, you
okay,
got
if
an
they
S
want-
line running through the back, you got a
Sarah, it
10
says
foot
that,
either way,
doesn't
it?
you gotta have a gate.
Doesn't it already say
Joseph,
that?
if
There's
they
so many
want,
different
if they
things we
want to
could
do that by
keep in.
hand, that's their business, or it's the fence company's business. But the application itself should tell them they need to do this.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be part of what we're doing.
Would be my next
I'd be happy with that.
question.
No, I mean, like, there's items that you want.
Not that I want, items I need.
That you
in
need.
order
That you
to
need in order to do your job.
Issue
Right,
a
so-
permit, I don't wanna, put it this way, I don't wanna issue a permit, one wrong, two wrong. By the time I get the third one wrong, when I retire, I wanna go on my own, I don't wanna be asked out
No,
of here.
okay, so
Okay.
the
By
application,
issuing permits wrong, you know?
So can I ask, I'm sorry,
go ahead, sorry.
this, the fence permit application that's in our, packet, that's the entire application, those 2 pages, right? That's
Yeah, that's,
where it
that's a
just,
joke.
that's what, I guess, so where it just has property owner information, and then just the type of the fence.
No height.
Yeah, they do show the height on there too, right?
Yeah, it seems pretty generic.
I'm saying, maybe we.
Yeah, so why can't
use
there-
that
Just
and
ordinance
we-
requirements, and then they gotta
Why
read the
why can't there
ordinance.
be a third
Should be
page
on
that
the
says,
application.
a site plan, and that, we take out the
There
word.
could be a lot of requirements on here that,
And the requirements should be on the application.
Yeah.
And then I'd be happy with
we
that, at least when
we
they,
don't make the application.
and once they, don't produce what we're asking for, like you said, on the application, then I just keep denying them when they get,
Sarah's gotta add another page here, whoever's making the clerk, if he's making up the application, needs to add the information we want as a third, or you want as a third page.
Yes.
And then we would not be amending our recently passed ordinance. And that would take care of your concerns.
Yes, I agree.
Okay,
That
so
seems-
then my next question would be off of that is that something that, Mike needs to come in to the office and say, here's the things I need to see on these applications, or is that, how do we amend the application, I guess is my question.
So he can come in and definitely give like what he wants on
Okay.
there, but I was always told when a form is changed, it has to be approved by council.
Okay,
Well, make,
That
see
shouldn't
what he
be a
wants and
problem.
send it to the council.
okay.
That's our recommendation, essentially.
I agree with you there. Just, I
Yeah, I
agree.
guess just looking at just this application right there, I understand why, yeah.
You could realize,
Yeah,
you could see my frustration by looking at what keeps coming in. Now, if that was coming in from homeowners, that'd be one thing, but I'm getting this from contractors, what you're looking at. And it gets pretty
we need to
frustrating.
get it from me, because I would be
So,
turning it. I would turn
I
it
know.
like-
Janine, do we need to make a motion to tell Sarah to contact Jamie and Mike and get a third page for this application and then send it to the council? Or is just,
I don't think we need a motion for that.
You know,
I think that's an internal, they can
we
address
could
that.
just do that
What we
internally.
what the business part that we need to do here tonight is going back to that, our 2 options that Mark Clark has put before us. If you go back to that top, the letter from the clerk. So number 1, we either take the amended ordinance that was approved back in January to the village council for final approval, and then go through the process of adding the plot plan amendment once passed, or we add the plot plan amendment to the amended ordinance that was approved back in January. We go through the process of having village council approve the draft, pass it back to the planning for the purpose of the public hearing, and then it would pass back to council for approval. My recommendation would be to go with number 1.
But you don't need to have the plot plan
We don't-
amendment.
We don't want to amend anything.
I don't
Add
wanna
anything.
amend it, so I think option 1 just takes the ordinance that we
passed.
Put together.
passed, and that we're finally going to say we need village council to approve that.
And we're not adding anything to it.
We're not gonna add anything to it at this time, right? We
council
just
could
need
do.
to,
We wanna send the same thing
we,
back.
we need to send it back.
Well, send it there.
Send it
because
there.
apparently never
Oh,
needs
sorry,
to.
I'm sorry, wrong word. You're right.
Yes.
Yeah.
We just need them to vote on it.
And
Justin, are you gonna
then,
tell them this time?
well,
The restrictions necessary for building permits is
that is a
an
standalone.
office procedure.
Yes, an office procedure, and then if that still
Not a
isn't accommodating
ordinance
it, what you
procedure.
need, then we can come back and look at still amending this
Yeah.
ordinance.
The planning commission made recommendation for changes to the fencing ordinance,
Right.
which were supposed to be sent to the Board of Trustees. Those were our recommendations for change. If anything further needed to happen, it should be at that table, not here.
So we don't need, in my opinion, we don't need to do anything. It's already been done.
I would-
You're gonna vote on the
Well,
same thing
let's
again.
make sure that it actually gets there this time, and if we need to pass a motion to do that,
To do
I don't
what?
think we need to. I agree.
The bylaws are pretty clear on how that is supposed to transition to the council. And it should have already happened.
I mean, we met all of our, everything we had to do.
We
So now
don't
they
need
just
to
need,
do anything.
now they just need to do it.
Correct. If you look back at those, the January 2nd, the 2025, the meeting minutes, from that, we had the public hearing. The purpose of that hearing was to adopt the new fence ordinance with the updates. And we concluded the public hearing, and then we, Ms. LaVere spoke about clarifications that were made, addressed by the Village of Romeo building official. There was a motion by Minton to approve the fence ordinance as presented, support by Bill Parker. The ordinance passed 7-0.
Furthermore, if we vote on anything, we'd have to have a public hearing before it, because we're
Right, because
asking to change the ordinance again.
yes,
So there's really nothing we need to do.
no.
Do you wanna pass a motion just to make sure that they understand that they've got this
No.
this stupid ordinance?
We'll have to have a public hearing again.
No,
No.
'cause-
Okay,
I mean, I've had conversations, apparently if I need to send an official email, which I shouldn't have to, it should be a passive records
Right.
to the official record keeper who makes the agenda. It should be done. Tired of the games.
Justin, send them an email, will you? Can we put this to bed?
okay. Okay,
Mike, you covered on
Send it
what you
up.
want? I'm good. Good.
okay.
To that effect.
And then we'll find out, make sure that that's, yeah.
And
then-
to send it to council with an updated application.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
For the zoning, on the zoning application, I'm gonna have to sit with Sarah, and we're gonna have to put all the items that are in there, and we'll just paste on there all the criteria they have to have.
Right.
And then if they keep bringing me insufficient drawings, when they get tired of getting denied till they put the proper information, then I could issue the
Well,
permit.
then it's on there, and that way you know, right?
Then let it go away.
It's always that, if it's not on there, I can give you what I want, because I'm interpreting it different than you're interpreting it, right?
If they
It's-
need a
it
site
doesn't
visit,
say
there
it.
should be a fee for a site visit.
Right, yeah, okay.
I pay for them all the time, from my end of work, for a special inspection.
Yeah.
To have an inspector come out to look at the job, because this one's special, I don't know what's going on. Let's look at this, let's figure out everything you're gonna want, and let's move forward.
And I do have a fee for site visits, I could,
Add it on there.
I could, you know,
Are we
we
doing
already
this?
have that in place, so.
Okay,
I just been real, it's getting frustrating because I haven't charged a one of them at all. I just try to be the nice guy and go out, but when you're going out with contractors, it's kind of wearing on me now, you
time
know?
consuming, yeah, it's a lot.
Well,
Lot
it's
of
fair
extra.
enough for you to charge for them.
Right.
For
Yeah, I
it.
know.
It's fair enough.
It's a homeowner.
You wanna work with the people, you don't wanna harm the people.
Justin's gonna send an email.
But if they
we're done
can't
with
do it,
this
and they need
discussion.
help, then they just have to
No.
pay for it.
It's nice that a resident, you try to help them, but contractors, I'm having.
Sarah's gonna take care of
They
it.
can pay for it, the contractor.
Can we move on?
Okay, we're moving on, all right, here we go. We're moving on, old business, thank you. Short-term rental review and discussion.
Do we need a motion for that, to send it back as
No.
one?
No, because it's, no,
It's already done.
Yep.
Okay.
yeah, because we didn't alter anything on that. There was no, we didn't change anything on that, the fence.
Right, but I didn't know if
Yeah,
Jamie's letter was waiting for one or two.
No.
If we make a motion to send it as one, I'd be more than happy to do it.
all right. Short-term rental discussion. Okay, so this, again, our planner put together, this document for you. I don't know if everyone had a chance to read through all of that. It's the short-term rental discussion. It was during the November Board of Trustees meeting. The short-term rental ordinance was requested to be sent back to the Planning Commission for further review. The board would like to reconsider an ordinance that would regulate, not prohibit, the short-term rentals. So they have set forth some suggestions for us of what things that they would like to see on it. The Planning Commission is asked to consider these suggestions. As with all ordinances under consideration, Planning Commission must take into account the enforceability of any ordinance, what resources are available to carry out the regulations, and in general, the APA advocates for the use of short-term rentals, but within parameters tailored to the community in which they reside. So she has given us some draft language based on those items that the Board of Trustees has asked for. Let's see. She's got, all right, so it says on here, setting a longer minimum stay. Example given to be 3 days to prevent one-night parties or large gatherings. There's implementing a permitting process that requires periodic reapplication, requiring initial or annual inspections, mandating a registered agent or property manager, enforcing rules to prevent excessive noise, parking issues, parties, and property upkeep, establishing a complaint process, making permits non-transferable if the property is sold. Any discussion?
The only thing I don't see in her proposed is the 3-day thing. And I'm not sure that's a necessary evil. I don't know how many people rent
Let's see.
for 1 day so they can have a party, but I'm sure it happens.
A longer minimum stay, let's see, where was that at? 'Cause I
It
thought
says
it was
it
here.
can go up to 28 or 31 days, depending on which line you read in here,
Right.
but it doesn't say minimums that I saw.
Let's see, no single rental agreement may exceed 28 days.
But everything else on trustee cares thing was, it looks like it was addressed.
Right. Yeah, I don't quite see it in that wording either. I'm not gonna say, setting a longer minimum stay to prevent one night. Longer minimum stay, because it does say how, like, you can't have to say less than 28 consecutive days. Rented for 31 days or less.
31 days is basically saying that it's a shorter term than a month, but the term
Right.
cannot exceed 28 days.
Okay.
Did you
To
find
be
short-term
a
in there?
short-term rental. Well, it's in the top.
No, in cares, but not in the,
Right. Well, the 3-day thing's not in her proposal, no.
Okay.
that's what I say, out of trustee cares thing, the only thing that wasn't spoken to was the
Right.
3
Yeah,
days,
it's not
so
in there.
I don't know how you set that up like that.
Or how do you enforce it?
Why do you care if it's 3 days?
Frankly, we have a answer in search of a question, I think. To the best of my knowledge, there's only one STR in the village of Romeo.
There might be a couple, yeah.
How many?
I think there's 3.
There are 3.
At least 3, yeah.
Jamie, do we know that there are 3?
There are 11,
In the village?
yes, sir.
Well, there you go.
There might actually be more, well, I think there are more. I know Greg Tarr and Briner as a partnership, they own 11.
They own 11 rental units. Are they all short-term rentals?
That's the last time they presented that it was short-term rental, is what they utilized it as. When you guys had your public hearing on this matter, Mr. Briner got up and said he had 11 rentals.
He said he had 11 rentals. He didn't say he had 11 STRs.
He says he uses them when they're vacant as short-term rentals, and by and large, that's been well for him. So I don't know how many of those 11 are now actively rented as long-term, but it was presented as his intention to keep rolling with the short-term rental facet of his business.
Are we gonna go through this, suggestion line by line, or, so I've read it, comments on line by line, and we're gonna be here a long time.
You have
Yeah.
comments on every line?
Originally, the planning, right, when we originally talked about this, we decided to not have them at all,
Correct.
right? And it
Correct.
was, I think, more so for the residential neighborhoods. And then it was brought up that there's residents that live in every aspect of the village, and that's why it bled out into, basically, we're just gonna say no. I don't know if anyone's position has changed, I know where you stand on them.
I don't like the wholesale banning of it because it's exclusionary.
I don't
You're just
think
saying
it's,
no.
frankly, I don't think it's legal.
I
But
don't
if we
either,
wanna go
but-
through this line by line,
Not a lawyer.
half of this stuff isn't legal. Period. I mean, it's common sense it's not legal. It's also the way this thing is set up that we are going to approve every STR. And I can't imagine, they're gonna pay for a public hearing for an STR? What do we charge for public hearings, Sarah?
To go in front of ZBA, it's $1,000.
And this is actually an administrative issue with Jamie in that they have to be registered, and that's it. I mean, because otherwise we're gonna get into, one of these things says, well, that we're gonna approve no more than 10 each year. It's a highly arbitrary and capricious number, which I don't know, there'd have to be some basis to defend that somewhere. And it says each owner may register no more than 2. Again, I don't know where the hell anyone feels that we, as a planning commission or the village council, has a right to interfere in what's a public marketplace. It's like saying you can only have 2 grocery stores in this whole town. That's nonsense. There's no, if our policing powers, our limiting powers are all based under public health, safety, and welfare, then please explain to me why health, safety, and welfare are involved by saying you can only have 2 STRs.
I think you just nailed it, though. You said a marketplace, or you're talking commercial business within a residential district. And that's the concern, and that's the issue, right? A long-term rental is understandable. People are there, they've established a residence, they're living there. A turnover every day of a resident is a business. It's a hotel. And that's the concern. Residential neighborhoods turning into commercial entities. You said it, marketplace.
Okay, then let's ban them in the residential marketplace, the residentially zoned areas, and allow them in the commercial and industrial areas. And then we can talk about regulating them.
Well, you're not gonna have them in industrial.
Well,
But, I mean, if you wanna limit them to the DDA and office district, I can respect that.
That you're mixing residential with commercial.
it's already.
It's already,
But it already is. You already have housing. I
It
live in the
it might
office
be far more
district.
profitable.
I haven't
to have-
noticed that.
Actually, the last,
My house is in the office district.
the last
Bailey Street is partially in the office district.
The last STR I rented was in Madrid, and we were next door to a breakfast place, and a bar was on the other side. It was a wonderful little place. Cost me about $100 a night less than a hotel would.
So I guess, so you're talking all residential districts that include the multifamily district? Is it residential period?
I think the ordinance is nonsense, period. Justin, I just totally do not agree on this, so.
so
I would, we
you,
gave a recommendation, okay, it was voted on, I don't even remember what the vote was.
It was tight.
4 to 5 to 4, or 5 to 3 or something?
It was close.
yeah.
It was close.
And we've sent our recommendation, and if we wanna talk about what's been talked about here, we can go through this, and someone try to explain to me why some of this is not pure nonsense.
Well, it's,
I mean, I'm okay with an application process, but I'm not okay with limiting what it is. I'm okay with an application, so the village knows where they are.
And a registration that they
Yes.
tell us how to get hold of them if something happens. That seems reasonable. It seems reasonable that there's a fee. Mike, what do you charge for a full inspection?
For field inspection?
A
Yeah.
full inspection
Full inspection.
of a dwelling,
You
a
know,
rental.
making sure that they got the smoke alarm, and all this
We
stuff
don't,
that
we
they.
don't have
We don't do
rental.
We don't do rental.
We don't have a rental
Now,
inspection here.
What do you think is a reasonable fee for that?
Well, other communities, what they do on their rental inspection program, a lot of them have the rental, well, what happens is you could pick either 2 years or 3 years. Most of them don't do it annually. You know, where you register, you'd have to go in every 2 or 3 years, and that's when the city decides. I think Roseville and East Point right now, last I remember, they were up to 250. I don't know where they are anymore. You'd have to do a little
So-
research on every one of them, Bill.
So $250 for an inspection every 3 years.
Yes,
You would think that's fair and reasonable.
that's what the cities are charging. I don't know
Okay,
what's
so-
going on. That's what they're charging, so I'd say it's fair.
That's a rental inspection.
Well,
That's-
and this is
that's
a
different.
rental inspection, for Pete's sake. That's what it is. And so we're saying, okay, there has to be an application, and the place has to be inspected to make sure it's safe. And that means the carbon monoxide and, what is the rest of this? Carbon monoxide and.
Smoke detectors,
smoke and
GFIs.
GFIs, and
Yeah.
they have to have I've never been in any rental unit anywhere at any time that required an exit plan, but I suppose if someone felt that was necessary, it's called open the door and get the hell out, but.
Okay, can I, here, I'm gonna look back at my, meeting minutes from July, man, I gotta go back and look. July 10th, 2025 is when we voted on the short-term rental ordinance. So we had 7 in favor of the of sending it to council the way that was written with it, with the total ban on it. And then just, we had 2 members that voted no, just for reference. So it was a 7-2 vote.
Okay.
Just for,
Yeah,
That we-
well, it wasn't as close as I remember.
that's why I carry my binder. But, all right, so, what do you wanna do?
Do we wanna go through what's been suggested here? Item by item?
We can, if you want, if that's what you want us to do.
I mean, I assume we all have read it.
Yeah.
Am I the only person here who finds much of this is nonsense? Andrew?
It's very limiting. It's overly limiting. I don't agree.
Do you think some of this stuff is legal, like they can only have 2? Do you think that's defendable?
mean,
I don't.
Not to open a different can of worms, we limit other things as well.
Yeah.
By distance, by application amount, we do that already. So saying that limiting things is illegal, I disagree. I just think it's overbearing.
Accept that.
I get that people don't want them next door, I understand. But in the downtown district and down the office strip, where you could theoretically live next door to a Dairy Queen, I don't understand the limiting of it at all.
Okay.
So, should we amend, or how do we, I guess we need to have it written out that we are banning them in the residential district? But they are-
Recommending, yeah, to council.
and, which we've already done, and ask that ordinance be amended. I guess we'd have to have
We'd have to have a public
definitely have to have
hearing.
a public hearing on this stuff. And but that it be allowed in the commercial and office districts, and that there be an application. Council sets the fee for it, so there's nothing we have to say about that. And that's
what
up to Mike's recommendation.
Council will do everything with the form, we have no say in what that form's gonna, we have no say in what that form's gonna say.
Right, I understand that, Emmett, that there be an application and that there's
Recommend
a fee.
application
And I
inspection.
guess we would be recommending a triannual inspection. That seems reasonable to me, but I don't know that that's gonna be, maybe
What's-
that needs to be part of the ordinance or part of,
But then you're opening the door to rental inspections, period.
I understand that, but that's. You should have rental inspections.
I don't disagree with you.
What is there a time frame on, because we had a public hearing. Right, nothing was
But
passed.
we'd be altering it drastically from completely excluded to something else totally different, right?
But we made this recommendation after the public hearing happened.
Right,
Based on what we gathered from the public,
and they send it back to us.
we made a recommendation. I don't know if we have to have another public hearing.
If we're changing the.
If you,
I would
if
say
you
we do.
we have to.
altering any of the language in it, right? Because once you alter that, you
But we,
have
but,
to
but,
allow the,
but nothing's been accepted or adopted since
Well,
the public hearing.
But
It's still been in discussion apparently, because it never made it to council.
we would still have to have it before, the public needs to be able to show up here and make those complaints as well, before we send it up.
I'm gonna disagree. There was a public hearing, and it can go back and forth from council to PC for months
Well, maybe that's not a
before
bad
there's a
thing.
recommendation finally determined.
And what do we do about the ones that are already in existence? Mike,
the 11 that we're talking about.
Jamie says that there's 11 of them.
Potentially,
Well, we don't know where they are.
yeah.
I don't
know where they are.
I know of only one, period.
It would be something that has to be discussed.
Yeah,
Not to mention, what we say is not final anyway, it's gonna go to the council,
yeah.
Right.
and they've already seemed to not wanna limit it out of residential. Cause that's not on here.
No, I don't see that on there at all. This would be for all districts.
Yes.
We said no, we had a public hearing, it was voted on with me being opposed.
Recommended to pass to
And
council.
it passed
They
the council.
disagreed.
The council has done nothing with it.
Well, they did, this.
They just sent it back.
Yeah.
They're
this
sending it
is-
back to us.
Yes.
So before we can have a public, or even begin to schedule a public hearing, we have to know what we're having a public hearing about.
Yeah, we have to write some stuff down.
Right, it all,
I don't feel that it needs a public hearing.
I do.
I've seen stuff go back and forth between other municipalities, planning and councils for months. You have one public hearing, people come and speak, I don't think there's any reason to have that. Again, if people wanna come talk during public comment, they can do that, but I personally don't think we need to post and have another public hearing and take on that expense.
Justin, what's the problem of having a posting the notice, which is what, in the paper or in the front?
I don't think there's any problem, but it's
Then let's
already
just do-
happened.
Then why don't we just do that, and then we're done with this portion of the discussion? If nobody shows up, that's fine.
Yeah,
We
but we
can-
still don't have so
We have to have some words to
we
put.
need the wording. If you're saying, you,
But again.
because we had already
I'm
sent the
sorry.
one forth saying that it was just a ban altogether. There was just gonna be no short-term rentals, right?
Right.
And then your, council has sent back their recommendations of what they would like to see in that language. So we have to give them something back. We
They
either have to
said-
say,
they
no, we're
said-
sticking with what we already originally said, or we
They
have
have-
our own list of things that we want.
I agree with what you're saying. Essentially, they have rejected our proposal, period. I mean,
Yes.
they've not voted on it, and they've sent it back to saying, well, you should allow it, but you should do all this other stuff with it. Okay, I get that. That's where they're at. The council has said, we're going to allow it. Or by not even having a vote on our recommendation and sending it back to us, they've said, no, you guys are wrong. We need an ordinance that regulates it. That's what this letter, all of this
Right.
stuff is about.
Okay, so we have another public hearing,
Right.
we make another recommendation, they say no again. Are we then gonna have another public hearing? No, this back and forth needs to continue. Council, when they finally adopt something or agree to, if they wanna have another public hearing, they can have one. I don't feel there needs to be another public hearing just to go back and forth. I think it's a waste of time and a waste of money. We're not adopting anything. There was already a public hearing. We gained the public's information, their feedback, what they wanted. We're gonna make a recommendation again to council. They may kick it back a second time. They may kick it back a third time. We're not gonna have a public hearing every time that happens.
Okay, where do we go from here? We've got, this is,
Well, just tell me what do you want to see in it there, Bill? I guess we're at the point of, we need to decide.
What we wanna.
What do you wanna send back to them is what you need to
Yeah,
decide.
what
What
do you
words
wanna
do you
write?
want in there, so
Do you
that
wanna start
way
with,
we can send it back?
do you wanna start with the planners proposed and make line-by-line adjustments as Bill suggested?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
I don't think that that we want to be involved in actually
fine with
approving
me.
the STRs. Do we?
Okay, all right, so let's go to our planners, let's just go through this then, that'll just, because we can sit here and discuss it for a whole nother hour, it's still not, it's not gonna. Okay, so it starts at the bottom
Bottom
right,
of one.
proposed definitions.
Yeah.
Okay, so your proposed definition, short-term rental is a dwelling unit offered for rent in part or its entirety for up to 28 consecutive days per customer.
Except, later on, it says 31 days.
Okay, well, hold on, we got
It
it.
said it can't exceed 31
It can't
days,
exceed it, it's for up to.
but it must be,
One's up to 28 days and one's not to exceed 31. What about 29,
For
30, and
31 days
31?
or less, 31 or less, yeah.
So that should change to 28.
3 days
or
hiding
less.
there someplace.
All right, so then we have got two here. Owner occupied short-term rental. A dwelling unit offered for rent that is the property owner's primary residence. One room may be rented to a customer while the owner lives there, or the entire home while they are away, and it is not operating or advertising as a bed and breakfast. Investor-owned short-term rental. It's a dwelling unit offered for rent for less than 28 consecutive days that is not a property owner's primary residence and is rented in its entirety to a single customer. Okay, we good with that part? Those are our definitions. All right, proposed short-term rental ordinance. A short-term rental, STR, is any dwelling unit in whole or part rented for 31 days or less. STRs include owner-occupied rentals, renting a room while the owner is present or the entire home while primary resident is away, and non-owner rentals, investor-owned dwellings offered entirely to guests. STRs are permitted in all districts where residential dwellings are allowed. Okay,
So when we should take that 31 down to 28,
okay,
because we've referenced it before as 28.
right, okay.
And if it's gonna be internally consistent, it's gotta be that.
What about permitted in all districts? Did you want to?
Sure.
No. Not in the residential,
all residential?
not residential.
So, so
Oh.
that's what I'm saying, all residential, single-family residential, multifamily residential, or just all residential? Because there's different
There's
residentials.
different, so we've got,
Because you've got large residential, single-family districts, and you've got one whole corner of town that's residential multifamily.
mhm.
So Justin, what do you want in there?
There's one whole corner of town that has a bunch of apartment buildings in it.
Yeah.
You wanna
entire
add
thing is
afterwards,
It's
No,
multifamily.
after the words are allowed,
single-family.
accepting the
Restrict to
residential.
Single family.
You wanna, after, where it's got a period, change that to a comma and put, accepting, the single-family residential,
Everyone,
district
yeah.
in which, these,
R1, yeah.
STRs
Yeah.
are hereby prohibited. Something to that effect?
So you're trying to, prohibiting them from the R1 district.
That's right.
So we would limit them to the
Anything except,
central business, office, and multifamily.
and commercial, industrial.
Just not.
You can't have residential in the
I agree.
industrial anyways, so
Right.
that doesn't matter.
Justin, what wording do you want in there? Andrew, you said something about accepting the R1B district in which they are.
No, just R1, you're trying to keep it
R,
as
R1
R1.
in which they are to be, in which they are not.
Because
to
there's
be-
R1A, R1B, those are just width measurements.
I get
R1
that.
does it all.
Give me a word, comma, accepting the R1 district where they are to be prohibited.
Yeah.
Sarah, does that work?
I think this will go to Karen.
Well, yeah, Karen will,
Karen will get this
she'll
and-
put her
and put in the
touch
correct
on that.
terminology.
So,
Okay.
and we're just gonna say no R1, how's that?
R1, yes.
She'll
Is-
make the words pretty.
Is it necessary to put in all those extra words of Why not just owner-occupied rentals and non-owner occupied rentals? Because right above it, it's explained what they are.
Right,
Why put all that extra verbiage in there just to confuse issues, make people read more? You can take those two lines
Oh, you were
between the
saying the
parents just
parentheses.
completely
Yeah,
out. There's no
okay.
reason to have them.
Steve, I'm not sure what you're saying.
oh, he's
He's
talking about
saying
the inter parentheses,
Condense the
just to
paragraph.
condense it,
Short-term rentals are defined as the two things they define again.
Right, but the,
because it's already,
under
I'm sorry,
descriptions,
but
it
that's,
tells you what those things
yeah.
are right above it.
okay. One is application and registration. A, the planning commission may approve up to 10 new STR applications per calendar year.
Strike,
Yeah,
I would strike that.
You say
period.
no?
10 new.
I would strike
Yeah,
that, and it's not the,
in general, yeah.
do we want to be the ones
Yeah.
approving these? Or is this just an administrative?
Administrative.
It would be
so I
administrative.
think that-
I'm just saying, it says 10 new, so we have 10 this year, those 10 can continue, 10 new ones.
Yeah, but then you're deciding, so.
Yeah,
okay,
no,
let
I
me
just, I
I'm just
I
gonna
agree.
say,
I'm
let's say
sorry.
there's 11 in town.
I'm just-
You just said one of them can't exist next year.
Why not just
If they're
strike?
in the right places.
Okay, so you're just saying, do you just want that removed?
I just want it gone.
Okay, all right,
The
B,
whole-
Saying
the whole
wording-
sentence is
wording
gone.
funny anyways.
So eliminate 1A altogether.
1A. B, all approved STRs must be registered annually with the village with the fee set by village council.
I'm okay with that.
Triannually?
I thought they were giving them a 3-year,
That's for inspections,
That's for inspection.
you- well,
certificate of occupancy.
This is-
if we're giving them a 3-year approval, then ask them to
years
come
for
in.
inspections. This
So
is
you
just
just ask them to
a
come in
register.
every single year,
This is just a register initial.
and there's no fee for that.
Just leave the word annually out, Bill? Just read it without the word
Or it must
annually.
be registered annually, so
Annually.
everyone must
Okay, if
register.
You have
want
to
do it annually,
re-register every.
and take out the
No,
word
I
fee.
would leave that like it is. I
Yeah.
mean, that's like any, as those, us contractors know, we have to pay registration fees every year to
Yeah.
every municipality. Whether you pull permits or not, you're paying that fee.
Yeah.
That's just part of doing business. I think that's,
Okay?
I'm okay with
Yeah.
that. C, each owner may register no more than 2 STRs.
Gone.
I take that line out in
Okay.
total, period.
D, only 1 STR per parcel is allowed. Accessory structures may not be used as short-term rental units.
Agreed.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
So that's without any accessory dwelling units then, none.
Right, it means like your garage can't be,
Carriage barn.
yeah, your
Shed.
carriage barns,
Well-
your garages, your sheds. Okay.
But if it's got two houses on the same piece of property, they can't do it.
That's not an accessory structure then, if it's two houses.
But it's on the same piece of property, so one's gotta be an accessory. One's the principal, one's the
How do you have
accessory.
two
No,
houses?
no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There can't be both principals.
Nice where there's 2 homes in this village.
It's kinda like bathrooms. You got one or you got two.
Okay, one, all right, we'll move on, one,
Yes, it is per parcel. So, okay,
yeah, go ahead,
so you've got duplexes in this village.
Yeah.
That are being built as we speak.
yep,
That's on one parcel, 2
That's
homes.
two.
It's not an
Yeah.
accessory structure.
But they're not accessories, they're both primaries, right? So that gets routed, you're right.
okay.
They're not accessory structures.
We're talking carriage barns,
Gotcha.
outbuildings.
They shouldn't even.
Okay. E, approval and registration is non-transferable, expires upon sale or transfer of the property. I'm okay with that.
Fine with
Yeah.
that.
All right, we're on to 2, application requirements. All applications must include A, the owner's name, address, and contact information. I think most of these should be pretty. B, your local agent contact if applicable. C, your property address. D, the number of bedrooms which exclude attics and basements. E, certification of safety equipment, smoke alarms in each bedroom, carbon monoxide detectors, fire extinguishers on each floor, compliance with building code.
Can we back up one tiny second?
Yeah,
There's any number of houses in this village that have a bedroom in the, let's call it lower level rather than basement, and they are perfectly code.
Code compliant?
Code legal, because they've got an access,
Means of egress.
an exit, egress, is it an egress window?
Egress window.
They've got an
door,
egress
something.
window,
Yeah.
so,
Do you wanna add?
Each dwelling unit shall have an egress window, and there's certain sizing criteria.
yeah, I understand that, Mike, so therefore,
Yeah,
so it would be perfectly legal if we struck,
Do you wanna say unless code
number of,
compliant?
when, take out the. We have to take out the word basements, because we're saying you can't count that when it's perfectly code,
So
building
number-
code compliant.
Number of code compliant bedrooms?
Yeah, that would
here we
work.
go.
Sure.
I can live with that.
Code compliant.
To
Code,
give you an example, if I went and did an inspection on one, we found a bedroom that somebody was makeshift in a basement, and there was no egress window that met the criteria what the code calls for, 5.7 square feet, the dimensions. and
Mike, there's
also
dozens of
shelter
those.
factor. If it wasn't there, then I would
you
write
can't,
it up, they couldn't have it there anyway.
Right,
There's
right.
dozens of this in
Okay.
this town. I mean,
Okay.
I know that and you know that.
Right.
Period.
Okay, so
So-
E, we talked about the safety equipment. All right, we're okay with that, I believe.
So,
Yeah.
my question with that, if we're gonna require an inspection every 3 years.
Yep.
Are they gonna need to be inspected initially upon registration as a new STR? And if they're gonna be inspected, this is gonna be validated anyways based on the initial inspection. So why are they gonna provide a certification of the safety equipment if we're gonna require an inspection upon initial registration of the new STR?
Would that certification be part of that inspection, like the approval of, because the inspector would say they're certifying it, that it passes that?
Sure. So you're saying this is the inspection?
That's what that's how
Okay.
I'm reading it, like that is part of the
Okay.
inspection process. That
Gotcha.
if you don't pass that, it's not gonna work, right? All right, F is consent to inspections with reasonable notice. The owner or designated agents must be available 24/7 and able to respond within 1 hour in case of an emergency. That's reasonable.
Not
What?
very reasonable.
Is that,
No, you're saying that's
Two
not
items.
reasonable?
It says consent to inspection with reasonable notice, but you gotta be there within an hour. There's no reasonable notice if you gotta be there
No.
within an hour.
That says in case of an emergency.
Yeah.
The 24 hours is within an emergency.
Guy can't go on vacation.
that's what I'm saying, is that too?
Well, an
Yeah, I
emergency,
feel that it
then
gives
you
two
have to
different
define
things.
someone to come to be able to let someone into the
Who's gonna
building.
monitor the designated agent then?
Well, if you call the owner, he's not.
No, but
Yes,
even if you
smart
call
business
them and they do it, guess whose license gets pulled? Case closed.
Certification.
We call you, you're not there, doop,
Well, there we go.
you're done.
Government's got you again.
I would say, I would agree, maybe that needs to be broken up into 2 different
An hour,
sections.
come on.
The consent to inspect
That's to
within
keep them
reasonable
from living in
notice
Yes.
East
is
Point
one thing.
and
Why do
living,
we care-
and
why
owning
do
the
we care if
property out
someone in
here.
East Point owns a
To
property
use-
out here.
Mike's
So
analogy of East Point
consent to
Road.
respect, within
Yeah.
reasonable notice, if we define that as within 3 days, 2 days,
Right.
whatever that is. And then the emergency response, I think should be a separate section. And
That's what I said, it's
maybe
two
we
different
say
items
that
within-
we're talking
Within 2
about.
hours then?
We wanna
But
make it
if
work.
there's a call that says, hey,
There's a fire.
I guess fire department and police department have that emergency right to enter a building
Why not make them
anyways
have a
based on-
knockbox?
Require a Knox box?
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna break the door down on a house if they.
Yeah, I
get
mean, if
into
they
it.
think someone's trapped or someone's.
This isn't a
injured
commercial.
inside,
It's kind of
So
like
they're
the
bringing the
openable
door
space
down
on a
anyway.
window.
I mean,
All right,
what
so we'll just,
emergency is
the
The
gonna
whole window's
require,
coming out, buddy.
Come on, we'll look at, it's 8:15, we gotta go.
Yeah, actually, it's not
Um,
unreasonable to require a lockbox.
We gotta go.
There are, elderly people in the village who have, boxes that allow the, police department or
Right,
the
access
EMT.
without, right.
Pardon, and
Mhm.
I know that those exist and
Yeah, knockbox.
it might be quite reasonable to require whatever that thing is on these type of things.
It's called a Knox box.
Brian said.
Okay, then
You
we'll
get a residential Knox box for about
Okay.
$300.
yeah, so why can't that be required at that point?
what emergency requires someone.
Sure.
If we're really truly concerned about it, then they've gotta have that.
Right. All right, so we're gonna split that. F is that consent to
Yes.
inspections with reasonable notice, and then the next one would be owner or designated agent must be available
Please.
24/7. Okay, it makes sense that those are two
And,
separate.
this SDR has to be equipped with a, what'd you call it?
Knox, N-O-N, or K-N-O-X.
Knockbox.
Okay.
Who's inspecting these fire extinguishers every year to make sure they're certified?
Part of this would be the inspection. All
Nobody?
right, G, complete dwelling floor plan that specify all bedrooms and finished floors.
Sure, just asking.
H, proof of property and liability insurance. I, a statement confirming an understanding of this ordinance.
Good.
Okay,
Brian, you said something about, or I didn't hear what you said.
So who's inspecting these fire extinguishers and make sure they're certified every year? 'Cause they're
well,
only
now
good-
we're under safety and maintenance,
They're only
look at
good for
number
1
3.
year.
They're only-
You can go through here and tear everything out as soon as the inspector's done.
Right.
But in 3 years, you're gonna have the same
Yeah,
problem. They
same
better put
problem.
them back or
It's
the
gotta be.
inspector's gonna reject it.
We're worried about it every 3
Mike, who knows how long Mike's gonna be here? But any inspectors, if it's not there when they look at it,
Yep,
it's
not
done.
getting your, yep.
Case closed.
All right, number 3, moving along, safety and maintenance. A, STRs must maintain a valid certificate of occupancy and pass a property maintenance inspection every 3 years. Okay, okay, next page. B, all STRs must comply with the current International Property Maintenance Code and all applicable zoning requirements.
What is the
What is the
International Property
International
Maintenance
Property
Code?
Maintenance Code?
I mean, we're referencing something, and I have not the slightest idea in the world what we're talking about.
Mike?
It's the International Property Maintenance Code.
Yeah.
Yes, that's when you enforce for
Rentals.
properties, you
Yeah.
use the International Property Maintenance Code.
And we adopt that.
Yeah.
We adopt that as it's
Yeah.
updated, yes.
Okay.
And that's, you don't use the actual residential code on it's made for specifically
Yeah, for rentals.
existing
Rentals.
structures like that for your
Yep.
rental.
Okay, C, emergency escape plans must be posted in a visible location.
Just like they have on the back of doors in every hotel
There we
bedroom.
go, so you know
Hotel
where you're
door.
going. All right, number 4, operating standards. A, all STRs must be approved, registered, and in good standing with the village to receive rental agreements. Yes. B, a maximum of 2 guests per bedroom shall be permitted per rental.
How do you,
Why do we care about that?
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, I mean,
They wanna stack
I
6
would,
people in
how
one
do you,
room.
if
Well,
someone,
two
if
bunk
a
beds.
couple
'Cause then
wants
you
to,
can't- you
to
gotta-
rent
you
a
gotta
two-bedroom
egress
unit, and they've
access
got
that.
3 little
We
kids,
You start stacking
You're
6
saying they
people
can't-
in
We
a
didn't make them
bedroom.
submit an
We
egress
can,
plan.
all
though.
right, we can, yeah, you just cross that one out, that's, you don't want that? Okay.
nope,
All right. C, no single rental agreement may exceed 28 consecutive days and only 1 active rental agreement at a time. Okay. D, short-term rentals may not host weddings, parties, or gatherings exceeding occupancy limits.
What is occupancy limits? If we just said you can't have more than, we're fine with more than 2 guests per bedroom, what's the limit on occupancy? For,
Fire code?
Right.
Yeah, but if you're at a wedding and you're renting the whole house and you have 42 people
I
coming
understand,
in,
but we just said you can't have weddings.
No, no weddings, no parties,
Right.
no
Weddings, no
gatherings.
parties.
Just get rid of the thing off the end,
this
exceeding
is
occupancy
asinine.
limits.
Right?
Just stop at or gatherings. What?
Gatherings. Pardon? Can't have gatherings.
Right?
Nobody
Define gathering.
is going to
I'm
want
not
to
doing
get
that
Uh, where
Does
are
that
we?
need to be posted? Is that like something that I have to have posted, like occupancy on a house? Does it have to stay? Like if there's 3 bedrooms and we're doing 2 people, like you sit, this can only 6 people in this house?
God forbid they should invite 6 of their friends in to have a drink after, going somewhere
It
else
is,
for a
right?
while.
That's what,
The thing is, on the residential code there for single-family residential, there's really nothing in there limiting that.
No.
However, when you mentioned if they were gonna try to have weddings or anything like that, or parties, that turns into a totally different use, and now
Yeah.
you're into,
But we've said they
you said
can't,
you're not allowed, right? Is that what they
but
said?
we're
Yes.
saying that you can't not have these STRs in the residential district.
Or gatherings.
Single-family residential
I don't
district,
know, right?
period. So now we're talking about the
Central business district.
central business district in the office.
Multifamily,
And-
so you're saying the people that live in those districts don't matter?
No, Justin,
Well, I'm just saying, I
My God,
understand what we're
if-
saying, it's saying gatherings exceeding occupancy limits.
Why don't we
I
just,
understand.
why don't
What
we
do you
just
want?
have weddings or parties and get from gatherings off?
all right, we're taking that last part out. All right, we're gonna cross out
You all right with
gatherings exceeding occupancy limits.
Cause
Just
I don't
cross
wanna
that out.
define what gathering means.
Yeah.
Right, wedding, okay, I agree.
You wanna have a couple people over after a event? Have them
So be it.
sit on the patio?
All right, E,
Okay.
off-street parking must meet zoning requirements for the district and residential use. All right, F, short-term rentals must comply with noise, trash, and nuisance ordinances.
100%, that shouldn't, yeah,
Right.
you're right.
All right, number 5, enforcement and revocation. The village may revoke an STR registration for A, 2 or more violations within 12 months.
what's the violations?
Anything above?
Yeah.
Whatever Mike says.
No. B, repeated failure to resolve complaints.
What's repeated?
I don't understand how we have to define pretty tightly what a violation is. If we're then saying, by the way, if you violate this, your STR is gone. You're talking about
Okay, well,
very
look at
expensive.
item, if you get down to number 6 though, it talks about violations,
Yeah,
so
it
we're
says-
not there yet though, so we're still talking about, okay, so A is 2 or more violations within 12 months. So if you violate any of those things in number 6, 2 or more times, then you're losing your registration. Repeated failure to resolve,
But you can't have a
Complaints.
permit if you're, you can't have a violation for not having a permit if you're operating it as an STR.
And you can't exceed occupancy limits because we didn't decide what.
because we just got rid of that.
Yeah, so now they're down to 2 things.
Okay, hold on, wait, we gotta decide, repeated failure to resolve complaints. If you want,
I can tell you how this goes in St. Clair Shores. If you don't pass their inspection after a year, you have to go to court.
okay,
So I probably assume there's some legalities behind why they do it that way.
If you don't pass,
Like if you have an inspection and you don't complete their inspections in the timely manner, or like it says here, repeated failure to resolve a complaint, they take you to court.
that seems reasonable.
And I'm assuming you can't just pull someone's STR
Sure you can.
Well, that's, so I mean, if,
without
this
due
becomes,
process.
That's correct.
well, they would revoke you after they would revoke it after you repeatedly fail to resolve your complaints. And then if you're in violation of the ordinance, you have an STR without a permit, then there is court.
You
Well, you
don't
don't
get the
have an STR
permit
'cause
until
you
they
don't have a
pass the
permit.
inspection
Right,
though.
but you can't have them without it.
But you don't have an STR because there's no permit.
Not yet, no.
okay, C says false information on your application.
You mean if you lie, you can't have one?
There, absolutely.
Come on,
D,
what is that?
refusal to allow inspections or failure to meet inspection standards. E is conduct adverse to public health, safety, or welfare.
So how do you define that? The Supreme Court spent years trying to decide what pornography was. So what conduct would be detrimental to the, public health, safety? You have to define it. You can't just say that. I'm serious. I mean, this is a joke, but that's beside the point.
That would be pages long.
I understand that, but if
I
you-
don't think it needs to be.
I would lose that line and then have it default down to failure to comply with village ordinances.
I'm sorry?
Right.
I would say I would get rid of E and just rely on C in the following.
Right, failure to comply with village ordinances.
I think that's fair.
I agree with that too. All right, so we're gonna get rid of,
E.
conduct adverse, because it does, I mean, that's,
It should fall within the ordinances.
okay. 6 is the violations and penalties. Violations include A, operating without a permit. B is exceeding occupancy limits, but if we're not having occupancy limits on there, then,
I mean, I understand Bill's conversation or discussion about a family having 3 kids, right? And they put 3 kids in a bedroom. So what if we went back and said 2 adults per bedroom? Right, because I think that would be the issue,
That might be a way to go.
okay.
right?
So that's under 4B.
How are you gonna monitor that?
4B,
Yeah.
Who's inspecting that?
2 adult guests per
Well,
bedroom.
when they get a call and there's 20 people
Yeah.
having a loud ass party at
What if they're not in the bedroom?
a house, then you clearly know that you've got more than 2 people.
But we're not,
What
we're
if they
talking, they
call it a
can't do
gathering
this in
instead
the
of a party?
residential district.
And they can't
It
have.
doesn't
They
matter.
can
Justin
only do it
doesn't
next
want
door
it
to
next to
you.
his house.
I accept it next to my house. That's, I know where I
You
live.
just don't want to.
Right, I know the district I'm in, but still.
20 people,
Right.
and we're not in the bedroom, we're in the living room.
Okay, all right, so I'm crossing out B here, exceeding occupancy limits, right? Or you wanna leave that in
This
there?
isn't gonna work.
We leaving it?
Take it.
Leave it in
Staying or
there.
it's going? The occupancy limits.
I don't like
I
it.
don't wanna try to define it.
Okay, all right, so I'm crossing that out. All right, so, this is 6C, failure to comply with the village ordinances.
It works.
That
Penalties
works.
are fine, suspension, or your revocation will be set by village council resolution. 7 is appeals, owners may appeal a violation by submitting an appeal form within 15 days of notice. The village council will review and issue a final decision.
And can we number the pages properly?
Oh, 3 of 2?
Yeah.
So this is the rough draft, and they'll come, and Karen is gonna come back with some.
Yeah.
language.
And you
Look at
know,
it next month.
and you know, we can go back to what she's put in bold letters here, as with all ordinances under consideration.
Yes.
The planning commission must take into account the enforceability of
So we
any
got a new
ordinance
draft, huh?
and what resources are available to carry out these regulations. And who is going to enforce this? Okay, I made my, what I thought.
Great question, Bill. So we're gonna submit
Types all
this,
that up?
this is going to
Sarah?
Karen to review?
Does Sarah,
Yeah.
Hopefully we get a draft back.
does Sarah know that?
Right. Right. You got all those notes?
If we can get a draft back.
That was a
for
lot.
January.
Perfect.
She's gonna be looking at this tape saying, what the
Karen
hell?
won't even be here in January, will she? Because we're a week later in January also, aren't we?
We're not the first,
Yes.
so it'll probably fall to February then.
Yeah, so if she's not here for the January meeting, if she can't be here, can we request her to present that in February? Just
Or
because I'd
if
like
she
her,
can
or she can give us the
Give it
draft,
to
but
us for
then.
January's meeting, even if she's not here.
Okay.
I will not be here in March, I don't know if it's gonna drag on that long.
So let's have it March.
Then you would have to put up with me.
Next Halloween would be good for me.
Moving on.
All right, moving on, here we go. Old business.
Wake up,
B,
Andy.
315 Washington Street. Okay, on the tables when you came in was an updated site plan review from the planner. She updated it on November 24th, 2025. This is regarding the 315 Washington Street. It is the vacant lot. It is the proposal of the 2 rows of 4 townhouses. 8 townhouses total at the site. The townhouses will be 2 stories in height, each with a porch and deck. The facade would consist of siding, 2 parking areas, and are proposed at the north and south, totaling 25 parking spaces. So this is the same, the applicant that came before us last month. And what has happened here is the planner, went through, if you look on page 2 of the revised site plan review. The one that came in our packet still had the same information from the previous month. But she has, if you look down below the first table, where it says at the November meeting, the planning commission reviewed the provisions of section 46-234, subsection 4 regarding the following. Front, side, and rear yards relating to the spacing between buildings within multiple family development shall have the following minimum overall dimensions. And this building, it's the rear to rear, that was the 80 feet. The variance was given by the ZBA at the September 2025 meeting, right? They have the rear to rear, which is the 49.98 feet. But that's just the table that we're looking at, rear to rear, where it says 80 feet, and then there's an asterisk. So then if you turn the page, the asterisk says parking may be permitted in a portion of the required yard, provided that there shall be at least 25 feet of yard space between the parking area and the building. All right, now she's into the interpretation of it. It was questioned and interpreted at the time that parking must be at least 25, feet away from the building. However, upon further review and consultation on this section with the attorney, this regulation would apply only to a scenario where a parking lot is located in the space between the buildings, as is the subject of this subsection. The current plan does not propose this scenario, as parking is located on the perimeter of the site, which is permitted, and not between the buildings. Therefore, no additional variances are required. Because I think that was the question that we were discussing, was if the front yard setback of the 25 feet was met or not. The planner says yes, that there's 35 feet, which does include the parking space, right? That was the question that we had, is that section of the ordinance book. Yes.
Yeah, reading that though, when you read it, it doesn't define it as it's defined here. And I would question who the township attorney is,
Right.
because.
Well, that would be Mark, it's Mark Clark
Okay,
that she
so-
spoke with, Mr. Clark.
So it's the village attorney?
Yes, it should say village attorney, not township attorney.
Okay.
Okay, so what, my understanding of the additional information from the planner and then that, Mr. Clark provided for us, that section in this ordinance book that we were looking at, where it says that front, side, and rear, that little table that we're looking at for the 80 feet, was only if the parking falls within that rear to rear between the buildings. If they was using that parking is what where that information comes from. If that rear to rear is, you need 80 feet from rear to rear, right? The backs of the buildings?
Yeah.
Right? And he got his variance for that already.
Yeah.
If you want put parking inside of that, then he would, but that's not where his parking
That
is.
parking's not there, yeah.
But because I did my due diligence, I did my homework, because I wanted to make sure,
Yeah.
right?
I appreciate you doing your homework, because
All
I
right.
was lost on that.
So if you go back to, hang on, I had it. It says, oh, sure, no, I'm not gonna find it.
They talked about the parking setback.
Where it does, it is in here, and it's, sorry, I thought I had it tabbed. You have everything tabbed in here, now I'm not gonna be able to find it. Okay. Darn it, I'm sorry, I'm holding everybody up.
Yeah, I came right from the job, so I didn't get time to grab my book.
Where was it? Okay, I don't know, I thought I had it tabbed. Okay, I'm not gonna be able to find it right this second, but, sorry. Because I did double check that, because I wanted to make sure I had it in my own thinking too, that it made sense. So, the front yard setbacks, in our ordinance, it is 25 feet, right? That is the front yard setback. He has the 35 feet, that includes his parking. So his parking doesn't get excluded out of that. We can't say his parking is, if it's 10, now he's got 25 there. We can't, the parking from the street to the building, he's got 35 feet, which meets that 25 feet requirement. What that table is that we were looking at, that is the distance from the rear to rear of the buildings.
So where it said you needed 25 feet between the parking and the structure, was only if it's in the rear?
If you're putting parking, if it says on here, parking may be permitted in a portion of the required yard, which would be the rear to rear, provided that there should be at least 25 feet of yard space between said parking and the building. But that was if he has that in his rear
But
yard.
nowhere does it define that as rear yard, right? It's an asterisk, but there's an asterisk on front to front, front to rear, and rear to rear, right?
But this is only the distance between the buildings. This is not the setbacks for the whole yard. This is only your distance between your buildings for multiple families, right? So when you have your apartment buildings, there's the distance between each building. What? This is only for that. This is not your front, rear,
So
or your
then
side.
where would you ever then have 25 feet between the parking and the structure?
Shouldn't we have a motion on this before we have all this discussion?
Motion on what?
Well, I would, yes, okay, because I was just reading her
Yeah.
to clarify her.
You clarified
What-
that, but shouldn't we have a motion now before we go into the discussion?
Yes, we
on
can.
this?
Would you like to make that?
I'll make a motion to approve the plan as presented.
You're talking the whole plan? Whole plan, I'll second it.
Based on, what was the only thing we didn't have lighting?
We got the lighting.
But we
last
did
time.
get the
We'll just
receipt of the
rescind
lighting,
it.
right?
We did it the
We
last
received
month.
that last month
Yeah, we
as
did.
well.
So this is not updated.
But now you can have discussion.
No, you can't.
Okay. Thank you.
Now we're official,
All right,
I
that's,
just want to
So-
be official already.
first.
right? So that was, like I said, I did go back and look in that book. I wanted to make sure for myself that was, like I said, I understood that. Because that table is only for the spacing between the buildings, not the entire
So,
yard.
so what you're saying is he meets the ordinance.
He meets the ordinance, that's why there was no variance for that front yard.
He's already got the variance for the rear to rear, but he doesn't
Yep.
have parking rear to rear, so he doesn't have to meet 25 feet from the building,
I don't see what it says in the book.
so.
I don't understand that.
Right?
No, I clearly don't.
No?
You want any further discussion?
Would you like further discussion?
I think it's.
I don't know if there's any discussion to be had unless Mark's here to define that. When I read that, I don't see where it said it. It's 25 feet between parking and the structure. It does not say only if it's in the rear.
But this is the overall distance between buildings, is all that's the only thing this is. is when we're saying if you're putting up more than one, unit, so he's got two 4-unit buildings, and if he's putting up those, he has to have he has to meet certain distances between those buildings, and the way that his are configured, his rear yards face each other. Right, so then there is the ordinance says those rear yards, how much yard does he have to have from that back wall of the one, from the back wall to the other, and that's 80 feet.
Yeah.
Right, and you're allowed to have parking in that if you wanted that,
Don't have it.
but he doesn't have parking in that. So this applies to that parking in that. He doesn't have parking there, he's got parking off the street in the front.
Yeah, off the alley in the back.
But
Right.
he has the 49 feet, which he got a variance for.
And he did get a variance for having a reduced 80 feet in, so
The
he
20
did get,
the
he already got his
25 feet
variance.
isn't applicable to this
Yeah.
scenario.
Right.
Because that's in the rear of the yard.
She's reviewed.
The only thing
This
that-
is her professional,
Mm-hmm.
this is what she does. And unfortunately, the ZBA gave a couple of variances, which is allowing, and apparently that makes it quote-unquote legal, a massive overbuilding of the site. I think the young gentleman who was here and protesting it was correct in his statement and analysis, but there is a motion on the floor, and if a question is called, we can take a vote and get done with this.
We sure can, if there's no more discussion?
I understand what we're saying now, I just,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
The only thing that I would hope is that when the parking lot lighting is put in, they don't do,
There's no parking on that.
they don't do what they did behind your Harriet Street house.
Chase down, there's no parking lot, it's the same thing.
Right.
Oh, I can mow my lawn
Okay.
at midnight at
Okay.
my house.
All right,
Like,
let's,
come shovel snow out.
And Mike can make sure.
How can we
No.
call the question?
And it's not his fault, it's the guy who built the building behind him.
You know,
Right.
they could check and see, make sure.
That's the only thing, I'm ready.
right, and that'll be met by, through, the building department, because he'll review those when the permits get pulled, so
And
that's,
then when I finish, just go up and check it.
right, absolutely, agree with that. Okay, we are ready, can we have a roll call, please?
Yep. Bill Parker,
No.
Webb,
Yes.
Mellon,
Yes,
Justin Parker,
No,
Hale,
Yes.
Minton,
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes.
5-2, motion passes.
Thank you. All right, last thing we have is just adjournment.
Have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
I had to get it in my last
Call for a vote?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'd also like